We are back. It is 8:12 with one of our favorites. Come on, the legendary gymnast, my pal Simone Biles. And in the wake of her experience in Tokyo at the Olympics, she is looking to help others feel comfortable about prioritizing their own mental health. And that's why today, Simone is announcing that she is working for the mental health and telemedicine app Cerebral. She is also an investor in that company. We're going to talk to Simone and the CEO, Kyle Robertson, in just a moment. But first, a recap of Simone's journey. Wow. Simone Biles expected to break records at the Tokyo Olympics.
Really just kind of got lost in the air. I've never seen her do something like this.
But instead, Biles broke barriers, withdrawing from most of her slated events after getting a case of the so-called twisties.
I had no idea where I was in the air. You could literally see it in my eyes in the pictures, like I was petrified.
She eventually returned to competition, taking home a team silver and bronze for the beam, and winning not gold, but global praise for putting her mental health and safety first.
I have to focus on my mental well-being, and that's what I did.
You sure did. That was brave.
Thank you. It was hard, working 5 years for a dream and just having to give it up. It was not easy at all.
It has not been an easy few months for the 24-year-old. In September, she attended a Senate Judiciary Committee hearing, speaking out about the failure to stop the sexual abuse that she and other gymnasts suffered from former USA Gymnastics doctor Larry Nassar.
To be clear, I blame Larry Nassar, and I also blame an entire system that enabled and perpetrated his abuse.
Biles persevering past the headlines, now headlining her tour, Gold Over America, hitting the mat once again. And Simone joins us exclusively along with Kyle Robertson, who's the CEO of Cerebral. Good morning to both of you. A big exhale, Simone, just watching that piece on this particular day, on this Thursday. How are you doing?
You know, a lot better. Getting the mental health therapy that I need has been really relieving for me, especially being on the road and being on tour. So I'm really happy to have such a great app to help out with that.
And we're going to talk about that because I want to get to that whole thing in a little bit, Kyle. But I was just reflecting on you at that Senate Judiciary hearing. And I saw you've been carrying that around inside and pushing it down for I don't know how long.
Right.
But in that moment, it just all came out on the table. And it was real and raw, and it was so moving. And I thought as I was watching that, too, I wonder if you've had a moment to reflect on how Larry Nassar's horrible crimes impacted your Olympic experience. Have you been able to, like, connect the dots in retrospect?
Yeah, that's a really interesting question. But, you know, over the years, after suppressing so many emotions and putting up a front on a global scene, I think really all of that came to light. And my body and my mind allowed me to suppress all of that stuff for so many years, for as long as it could take. And as soon as we stepped onto the Olympic scene, it's just decided it couldn't do it anymore, and it cracked. And that's what happens. And that's why taking care of your mental well-being and mental health is so important, so that something like that doesn't happen. And, you know, I'm grateful that it wasn't somebody else and it was me, because I know I'm strong enough and I can get back on my feet, and I'm going to be okay with the right help. But it does kind of suck, because I had worked really, really hard for that. And, you know, it's just hard.
It's really hard. Did you think that he had something to do with it? Like, when I watched you that day, I just looked and I said, that, you know, I wondered about that.
In the moment, I tried to blame myself again, but I knew I couldn't put that blame on myself. And once that happened, all the pieces were put together, and I knew exactly what was going on, why it was happening. And it sucked because, again, I'm on a global stage and everybody has to watch me go through that, and they get to form their own opinion before I even get to voice and say what's going on. So,
well, those panic attacks that you described at the Olympics, like you could feel your heart pounding when you were stepping out there. And then once you came back, you talked again about the panic attacks kind of hitting you at the VMAs when you were stepping out. How do you deal with those emotions?
Now I have different techniques that I can use, but, you know, to go through something like that and to be a voice for all of the survivors and people who want to come forward and talk about their stories, it's really inspiring, but it's hard that I have to go through it, because again, people form their own opinions, and I don't really get to say what's going on, so.
Well, has it been weird? I mean, you were the face of gymnastics, and in an instant, you kind of became the face of mental health.
Yeah.
And I thought, wow, what a transition for someone who's worked since she was a little kid on just one track, and now it's changed. How have you been handling that?
It's been unique
Yeah.
because everybody's journey is unique and different, and going through something like that on a global stage is so crazy. And so I'm trying to navigate that the best way I can while still going out there and putting on shows, which I absolutely love to do because it brings me so much joy. But at the end of the day, I still go through my own set of problems that I have to deal with. So.
Yeah. This goat tour that you're on, which is awesome. Do you still get the twisties? Because you're still performing and spinning around.
Yeah, I don't twist. I do double A half outs, which is my signature move on the floor, but that's never affected me. But everything else is just like weighs so heavy, and I watch the girls do it, and it's just, it's not the same.
It's not the same.
Yeah.
Is that weird?
Yeah, to do something that I've done forever and just not be able to do it because of everything I've gone through is really crazy, because I love this sport so much. But it's hard, I'm sorry. And I don't think people understand the magnitude of what I go through, but for so many years to go through everything that I've gone through, put on a front, I'm proud of myself, and I'm happy that I can be a leader for the survivors and bring courage to everybody speaking up, so I'm happy to be a voice for them, but we go through our own things, and it's hard, but the twisting, once I got back, will come back, but I'm still scared to do gymnastics.
That's hard, honey.
Yeah.
I know. By the way, we had some of the women from the soccer team come in here, and they all talked about how you were the reason that they could speak their voice and they could tell their truth. And I thought that was just so amazing. Like, you don't even realize how many people you're helping, even though you're sitting in this really tough moment. And you've kind of got... So when you're going through these difficult moments, I know your mental health is something that you're paying a lot of attention to.
Yeah.
And do you have things techniques that you particularly use to get through things? And I'm going to talk to you, Kyle, in just a second.
I mean, the app, for one thing, has been a great thing, and it's worked for me. So happy to have that, like, right in my pocket, take that on the road with me, because that was super important that I started therapy before going on the road. As hard as it was to get started with that, it definitely helps. But along with techniques, I do. I love to take my daily walks. I think fresh air is really good for me. Being outside, especially not having like my friends and family close on the road. I try to do like social media decompresses. I don't post as much, but I'm trying to keep in touch with everybody on tour and with the fans, and keep them like they're in my lives and every day. And then love a little retail therapy. That never helps.
So many things.
So, yeah, there's a lot of things that I do that have helped me.
And this app, and Kyle, I just want to bring you in, Cerebral. I mean, first of all, to team up with Simone Biles, you hit the jackpot, honey. Sorry, but like
They've been amazing.
and I know you've been amazing. But just real quick, if someone were to get this app, what will they glean from it? What will they take away?
Yeah, so we're soup to nuts online mental health care. So counseling, therapy, medication management for different mental health conditions like anxiety, depression, ADHD, you name it. And we're really about using data science to take wait times to have a visit with a mental health clinician from months to minutes, quite literally, and really just cutting down the barriers to accessing care, whether that be cost or convenience or stigma. And what you've done to fundamentally change mental health and how people view mental health and destigmatize it is just so powerful for so many people. I actually, I was watching you in the Olympics in Tokyo, and I was sitting in a hospital bed at the time, and I was dealing with my own mental health challenges, and seeing you, get up there and say, hey, I'm not okay, and I need to stop here. It's going to change so many lives.
Simone, you are a remarkable person, even more today than before. So thank you. We wish you the best of luck. Keep us posted on everything that's coming up in your future.
I will.
Okay? Kyle, thank you.
You're welcome. I love you. Thank you so much.
Okay.
It's been amazing.
All right. We're going to send it over to Mr. Roker, get a check of the weather.
All right.